Most men today are exhausted, not because they're working too hard, but because they're thinking too much. They wake up already stressed. They open their phone and instantly feel behind. Too many goals. Too many expectations. Too much pressure. And the worst part? They believe stress is the price of success. But what if I told you the most productive men in history were not stressed at all? What if I told you there's a way to get more done, stay focused, build discipline, and still feel calm, clear, and in control? That's exactly what Stoic men understood. While everyone else is overwhelmed, distracted, chasing validation, the Stoic man operates differently. He moves with purpose. He thinks clearly. He acts without emotional chaos. And that's why he wins. So in this video, I'm going to show you how Stoic men stay productive without stress, using powerful principles from Stoic philosophy that you can apply immediately. But before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. What's your biggest distraction right now? Master these 8 Stoic strategies and unlock unstoppable focus, discipline, and calm. Stay with me until the end. Let's get into it. We live in a world that glorifies busyness, but punishes peace. Social media tells you to hustle harder, grind more, sleep less, do everything. But it never teaches you how to control your mind. This is where Stoicism becomes powerful. Stoicism is not about doing less. It's about doing what matters, without emotional chaos. It teaches you 1. What to focus on, 2. What to ignore, 3. And how to stay calm no matter what happens. And today, I'll break this down into 8 powerful principles that will completely change how you work, think, and live. Point 1. Control what you can, the Stoic foundation of stress-free productivity. Let me tell you something most men never realize. You are not tired because you're doing too much. You are tired because you're trying to control too much. And that's the silent killer of productivity. Think about your day. You sit down to work, but your mind is not on the work. It's on the result. What if this fails? What if they don't like it? What if I'm wasting my time? And just like that, you've turned a simple task into emotional pressure. This is exactly what the Stoics warned about. Epictetus said, "We are not troubled by things, but by the opinion we have of things." Read that again. It's not the work stressing you. It's the story you're telling yourself about the work. A Stoic man understands something most people never learn. There are only 2 things in life: what you can control, and what you cannot. And the moment you confuse the 2, you lose your peace. You lose your focus. You lose your power. Let's break it down. You cannot control whether people like you, whether your video goes viral, whether your business succeeds instantly, whether someone stays or leaves. But you can control your effort, your discipline, your focus, your consistency. Now here's where most men go wrong. They invest 90% of their energy into what they cannot control, and only 10% into what they can. And then they wonder why they feel stressed, overwhelmed, and stuck. Let me give you a real-life example. 2 men start a YouTube channel. The first man is obsessed with views. He checks his analytics every hour. He compares himself to bigger creators. He overthinks every upload. Why didn't this video blow up? Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should quit. He's not just creating. He's suffering. Now the second man. He focuses only on what he can control. He studies his craft. He improves his thumbnails. He writes better scripts. He uploads consistently. He doesn't panic when a video underperforms. He learns. He adjusts. He moves forward. Same platform. Same opportunity. Completely different results. Why? Because one man is trying to control outcomes, and the other is mastering his actions. This is the Stoic difference. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, ruled an empire under constant pressure. War, politics, crisis. Yet he remained calm. Why? Because he understood this principle. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That is the ultimate productivity hack. Not a tool. Not an app. A mindset. Because once you truly understand this, everything changes. You stop worrying about results. You start focusing on execution. You stop fearing failure. You start building discipline. And suddenly, work becomes lighter, clearer, even enjoyable. Here's something powerful. Stress is not caused by effort. Stress is caused by resistance. When you resist uncertainty, when you resist outcomes, when you try to force life to go your way, you create tension. But when you accept what you cannot control, you release that tension. And now your energy becomes focused, sharp, effective. That's when productivity skyrockets. So how do you apply this? Simple. Before you start your day, ask yourself one question. What is actually in my control today? Not what you hope for. Not what you fear. What you can do. Then focus only on that. And every time your mind drifts to outcomes, bring it back. That's the practice. That's the discipline. That's the Stoic way. Because at the end of the day, you don't control success. You earn it through consistent action. And once you understand that, you stop chasing results. And you start becoming the man who produces them. That is freedom. That is power. That is how Stoic men stay productive without stress. Point 2. Focus on one thing, the Stoic secret to eliminating overwhelm. Let me ask you something honestly. How many things are you trying to do right now? Build a business. Make money. Improve your body. Fix your relationships. Grow your social media. Learn new skills. And somehow, you expect yourself to do all of it at once. This is why you feel overwhelmed. Not because you have too much to do, but because you're trying to do too much at the same time. And this is where most men destroy their productivity without even realizing it. They don't lack effort. They lack focus. Marcus Aurelius said something powerful. You can do anything, but not everything. That single sentence can change your life. Because here's the truth. Multitasking is a lie. Every time you switch tasks, your brain resets. Your focus drops. Your energy drains. And what should take 1 hour now takes 4. Let me paint a picture. You sit down to work. You open your laptop. You start a task. Then your phone buzzes. You check it. You scroll. You reply to a message. You go back to work. But now your mind is not fully there. You're thinking about something else. Then you switch to another task. Then another. By the end of the day, you're exhausted. But you've accomplished almost nothing meaningful. This is modern productivity. And it's broken. The Stoic man does the opposite. He doesn't try to do everything. He chooses one thing. And he gives it his full attention. No distractions. No switching. No mental chaos. Just pure focus. And this is where real power comes from. Because deep focus creates momentum. And momentum creates results. Let's go back to a real-life example. 2 men are working on the same goal. The first man is busy all day. Emails. Calls. Social media. Random tasks. The second man works in silence for 2 hours. No phone. No distractions. Just focused work. At the end of the week, who is ahead? The second man. Every time. Because clarity beats chaos. Focus beats busyness. And intention beats effort. Here's something most people don't understand. Overwhelm is not a workload problem. It's a decision problem. You haven't decided what truly matters. So everything feels important. And when everything feels important, your mind becomes scattered. But when you choose one priority, everything changes. Now your energy has direction. Now your actions have purpose. Now your mind becomes calm. Seneca said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." That's most men today. Moving, but not progressing. Busy, but not effective. The Stoic man is different. He knows his target. And he moves toward it with precision. So how do you apply this? Every day, choose one main task. Not 10. Not 5. 1. The thing that actually moves your life forward. And commit to it fully. Block distractions. Turn off notifications. Create silence. And work. Not emotionally. Not anxiously. But deliberately. Because once you train your mind to focus, you eliminate stress. Because stress thrives in chaos. But it dies in clarity. And here's the most powerful part. When you master focus, you gain control over your time. And when you control your time, you control your life. That's the Stoic advantage. While others are distracted, you are disciplined. While others are overwhelmed, you are clear. While others are busy, you are effective. And that is why Stoic men don't just work harder. They work smarter, calmer, and more powerfully. That is how they stay productive. Without stress. Point 3. Detach from outcomes, the art of working without fear. Let me ask you honestly. How many times have you avoided doing something, not because you were lazy, but because you were afraid of the result? Afraid it won't work. Afraid people will judge you. Afraid you'll fail. That fear is what destroys productivity. Not the work itself. The anticipation of what might happen. This is where most men get stuck. They don't just act, they attach themselves emotionally to outcomes. If this doesn't succeed, it means I'm not good enough. If this fails, I've wasted my time. And just like that, work becomes pressure. Pressure becomes stress. Stress becomes paralysis. This is why the Stoic man operates differently. He detaches. Not from effort, but from outcome. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." Notice what he emphasizes: preparation. Not guarantees. Not control. Just preparation. The Stoic mindset understands that you can do everything right, and still not get the results you expected. And that's not failure, that's reality. Think about it. You can work hard. Be disciplined. Stay consistent. And still face rejection. Still face setbacks. Still face delays. But here's the difference. The average man takes that personally. The Stoic man does not. Because he doesn't measure his worth by results. He measures it by effort, discipline, and integrity. Here's a real-life example. 2 men apply for the same opportunity. The first gets rejected, spirals, and quits. The second also gets rejected, but asks, "What can I improve? What can I learn?" He adjusts. He tries again. Eventually, he wins. Same rejection. Different mindset. Different outcome. This is the power of detachment. When you stop attaching your identity to results, you remove fear. When you remove fear, you unlock consistent, fearless action. And that is where productivity lies. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. Do the work. Accept the result. No drama. No emotional chaos. Just execution. At the end of the day, you don't control outcomes. You influence them through your actions, your Stoic mindset, and your discipline. So stop asking, "What if it fails?" Start asking, "Did I do my part?" And when you live by this question, you become unstoppable. Nothing can discourage you. Nothing can break your focus. Nothing can stop your progress. You're no longer working for validation, you're working from purpose. If you're finding value so far, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. What fear are you detaching from today? Point 4. Build discipline, not motivation, the Stoic work ethic. Let's be real. Motivation feels good. It excites you, gives energy, makes you feel alive. But it's also one of the biggest lies modern culture has sold you. Why? Because motivation is temporary. Some days you feel like working. Some days you don't. If your productivity depends on how you feel, you will always be inconsistent. This is where the Stoic man separates himself from the rest. He doesn't rely on motivation. He builds discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work,' as a human being." Notice, that's not motivation. That's responsibility. The Stoic man doesn't ask, "Do I feel like doing this today?" He asks, "Is this what needs to be done?" Then he does it. Without negotiation. Without excuses. Without waiting for the perfect mood. That is why he stays productive. Because his actions are not controlled by emotions. They are controlled by principles, purpose, and the Stoic mindset. A man driven by motivation works when he feels good, procrastinates when tired, quits when it's hard. A man driven by discipline works regardless of how he feels, shows up even when uncomfortable, continues when progress is slow. Which one do you think wins long term? Discipline always wins. Because discipline creates consistency. And consistency creates results. Here's the secret: you don't need to feel motivated to act. You need to act to feel motivated. Action, momentum, energy, progress, confidence. That is the Stoic cycle of self-discipline. So don't wait. Start. Even when it's hard. Even when it's boring. Even when you don't feel like it. The Stoic man is already moving, while others are waiting for motivation. If you want to eliminate stress and unlock your potential, stop relying on feelings. Build a system. Build habits. Build discipline. Because once discipline takes over, execution becomes effortless. That is the Stoic way. Point 5. Eliminate mental noise, protect your mind. Most men aren't physically exhausted, they're mentally overloaded. Their minds are running constantly, thinking, comparing, worrying. No wonder they feel drained. This is mental noise. And it destroys productivity. A distracted mind cannot focus. A noisy mind cannot think clearly. The Stoic man understands this. He protects his mind like his life depends on it. Consider your daily inputs. Social media. News. Notifications. Other people's opinions. All fighting for your attention. Every unnecessary input clutters your mind. A cluttered mind leads to a cluttered life. Seneca warned, "He who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." Most stress is imagined, created by overthinking, fueled by unnecessary input. The Stoic man cuts this out. He is intentional. He limits distractions. He creates silence. And in that silence, clarity is born. Focus deepens. Mental energy is preserved. Calm, sharp, unstoppable. If you want to improve productivity, start cleaning your mental environment. Less noise. More clarity. Less distraction. More focus. That is the Stoic advantage. Point 6. Master your emotions, the real power, 1200 words. Let's get honest for a moment. Most men aren't held back by lack of skill or knowledge. They're held back by their emotions. Fear, anxiety, frustration, anger, these invisible forces govern their decisions, their actions, and their productivity. You've felt it too, haven't you? That creeping anxiety when a deadline approaches. The irritation when someone cuts you off in traffic. The self-doubt when you scroll social media and compare your life to everyone else's. These aren't just feelings, they're mental chains. And here's the hard truth: if you don't control your emotions, they control you. This is why so many men struggle to stay productive. They try to act, but the inner turmoil sabotages them. They procrastinate, they hesitate, they react impulsively, all because their emotions are running the show. The Stoic man is different. He doesn't deny his feelings. He doesn't bury them under distractions or try to numb them. He acknowledges them, understands them, and chooses how to respond. Think about it. A modern man reacts to a rude comment online. He gets angry, frustrated, maybe even defensive. That emotion steers his next move, often poorly. A Stoic man sees the same comment, feels the same initial irritation, but he pauses. He reflects. Why does this bother me? Does this matter in the grand scheme of my life? What action, if any, is necessary? Then he acts, not emotionally, but with intention. This is emotional mastery. It's not suppressing feelings, it's understanding them and using them strategically. Let me tell you a story. Two men are given a challenging project at work. The first man feels overwhelmed. Anxiety creeps in. He worries about the outcome, judges himself, and eventually delays starting the work. Stress builds, and his productivity collapses. The second man notices his nerves. He acknowledges the fear. But instead of letting it control him, he breaks the project into small steps, focuses on one task at a time, and steadily moves forward. He doesn't get lost in imagined failure. Who do you think completes the project with clarity and confidence? The Stoic man, of course. Emotional control isn't just about work either. It's about life. Facing rejection in dating without anger or bitterness. Accepting criticism without taking it personally. Staying calm in financial or personal crises. All of this requires the Stoic mindset. It's not about being cold or unfeeling, it's about being strategically calm, mentally clear, and purpose-driven. Here's a principle Marcus Aurelius lived by. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your emotions are like waves. You cannot stop the ocean from moving, but you can learn to surf. When you master your emotions, stress no longer paralyzes you. Fear no longer dictates your decisions. Anger no longer leads to poor choices. And here's the most important part: mastery of emotions amplifies every other aspect of life. Your focus becomes sharper. Your productivity skyrockets. Your relationships improve. Your self-respect deepens. You become a man who is not tossed around by circumstance. You become a Stoic man. Pause CTA. If this is resonating with you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below. How are you mastering your emotions today? Because the first step in true productivity and mental clarity is taking control of your internal state. This is why emotional mastery is the real power, and why most men will never reach their potential without it. Point 7. Live with purpose, the ultimate clarity, 1200 words. Imagine living a life where every decision, every action, every hour of your day is driven by purpose. This is what separates ordinary men from Stoic men. A man without purpose drifts. He reacts. He prioritizes what's urgent, not what's important. His energy is scattered, his focus weak, and his stress levels high. The Stoic man does the opposite. He is clear. He is intentional. He knows exactly what matters and aligns every action with his values and goals. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Purpose is the lens through which a Stoic man views life. It eliminates unnecessary distraction. It removes indecision. It channels energy, discipline, and focus where it counts. Let's break it down. Without purpose, life feels chaotic. Decisions are made on whims. You chase every shiny object. Productivity suffers. Stress increases. With purpose, life becomes simplified. Decisions are easier. Energy is concentrated. Focus is deep. Action becomes natural. Here's a real-world example. Two men start a business. The first man jumps into every idea he finds online. He's motivated by trends, opinions, and what seems exciting. Months later, he's exhausted, broke, and burned out. The second man identifies his goal: build a sustainable business that reflects his skills and values. He says no to distractions, yes to strategic action, and works consistently. Years later, he's thriving, financially, mentally, and emotionally. That's the power of living with purpose. Purpose isn't some vague, abstract concept. It's actionable. It's practical. Knowing your long-term vision. Breaking it into actionable steps. Ignoring what doesn't contribute to it. This clarity reduces stress, because you're no longer reacting to external events. You are directing your life, step by step, guided by the Stoic mindset. Another example. A Stoic man faces criticism at work. Without purpose, he might feel offended, reactive, or anxious. With purpose, he asks, "Does this criticism align with my long-term goals? What can I learn?" His energy remains intact. His focus is preserved. His mind is calm. Purpose also fuels discipline. When you know why you're doing something, you don't rely on fleeting motivation. You act because it matters. And here's the ultimate truth: a man with purpose isn't easily distracted, stressed, or shaken. He moves through life with intentionality and power. So if you want mental clarity, emotional control, and unstoppable productivity, start by defining your purpose. Write it down. Refine it. Align your daily actions to it. Living with purpose is the foundation of a Stoic life, and the ultimate way to simplify life, amplify results, and stay calm under pressure. Point 8. Accept reality. Amor Fati. Love your fate. 1200 words. Finally, we arrive at the pinnacle of the Stoic mindset, Amor Fati, or the love of your fate. Most men fight life. They resist reality. They complain about circumstances, wish people were different, or blame the world for setbacks. The Stoic man does not. He accepts reality, not passively, but powerfully. He sees every event, every challenge, every obstacle as part of his path. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Acceptance is not surrender. It is engagement with reality without resistance. Think about it. Failure becomes a lesson, not a curse. Rejection becomes redirection, not defeat. Obstacles become opportunities, not roadblocks. This is Amor Fati, the art of using everything life throws at you as fuel for growth. Let me give a story. A man invests in a project that fails spectacularly. The average response? Anger, frustration, blame. Stress levels spike, motivation drops, and productivity crumbles. A Stoic man experiences the same failure. He reflects, "What can I learn? How can I adapt? How can I turn this into fuel for the next success?" That mindset changes everything. Acceptance also reduces mental resistance, which is a major source of stress. Most stress comes from fighting reality. Fighting traffic, fighting criticism, fighting failure. When you stop fighting reality, stress disappears. You don't waste energy on what cannot be controlled. You focus entirely on what you can influence. Amor Fati is also about resilience. The Stoic man doesn't crumble under setbacks. He doesn't panic when things go wrong. He uses adversity to grow stronger, sharper, more disciplined. Every challenge is a teacher. Every obstacle is a tool. Every failure is a step forward. The truth is, life will not be easy. Life will not be fair. But the Stoic man thrives anyway, because he embraces reality fully, adapts fluidly, and moves forward with purpose and clarity. When you combine detachment from outcomes, discipline over motivation, mental clarity, emotional mastery, living with purpose, with Amor Fati you become unstoppable, calm, focused, powerful, productive, unshakable. This is not theory. This is how Stoic men live. And this is the mindset that will help you stay productive, avoid stress, and build a life of true mastery. In conclusion, so here's the truth. Productivity without stress is not a myth. It's a mindset. A Stoic mindset. When you control what you can, focus deeply, detach from outcomes, build discipline, eliminate noise, master emotions, live with purpose, accept reality, you become unstoppable, calm, focused, powerful, and while everyone else is overwhelmed, You move forward with clarity. If this video helped you, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. Which point hit you the hardest? And what do you want me to talk about in the next video? Stay disciplined. Stay focused. Stay stoic.